Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Thank you guys for joining me here on a Friday at home. I'm currently not in the office. It is my day off, but we got some pretty big news on the injury front for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Today on the show, I'm going to be breaking down the final injury reports for both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns before their divisional matchup this Sunday. Then also at the top of today's show, there is some bad news for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into tomorrow's matchup between the Ravens and Packers. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button at the top of today's video if you haven't already. Whether I'm here on my off day or whether I'm in studio at work, I do my best to get you guys the best Steelers content that you guys can get here on YouTube, your one-stop shop for everything Steelers content related. We put out 2 videos a day on this channel. We put out our mailbag for the week earlier today if you guys want to check that out. Then also we'll be live for 2 watch parties this weekend. Not just 1, but 2 watch parties. Tomorrow we'll be live for the Ravens-Packers game because if the Ravens lose, the Steelers win the AFC North Championship, and we're going to celebrate together if the Packers can get the victory. And then, of course, we'll be live just for the Steelers game on Sunday like we are for every single Steelers game here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you guys join us. Click that subscribe button. Help us get to 110,000 subscribers here on the channel. We are so close, and I greatly appreciate the love and support that you provide for us here at Steelers Talk. All right, so let's get into the news here, starting with the bad news for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is that Jordan Love, starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, is officially out for tomorrow night's game versus the Baltimore Ravens, and backup quarterback Malik Willis is expected to start, but he has been limited in practice all week with a shoulder injury, and he's still technically listed as questionable, and if he's not going to be able to go, it's going to be Clayton Tune, who's currently on the Packers practice squad, that will be getting the start tomorrow night against the Ravens. And yesterday we got the good news, relatively speaking, in terms of Steelers fans, that Lamar Jackson is going to be doubtful to play tomorrow night. He has a back contusion. He has not practiced all week, and the team definitely seems like they're indicating that Lamar Jackson's not going to play tomorrow, and it will be their backup quarterback, Snoop Huntley, who will be getting the start for the Ravens. So it's certainly looking like we're going to get a Snoop Huntley versus Malik Willis football game tomorrow night. And obviously that looms large in this matchup here because the Ravens, if they lose tomorrow night, they will be out of playoff contention, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will officially lock in a home playoff game as division champions for the first time in about a half decade at this point for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So hopefully the Steelers can win the division without having to take another snap. But that is the bad news here, is that the Packers starting quarterback is going to be out for this football game. Now, I will say Malik Willis, in his time playing for the Packers, when he's been asked to play, when Love has been injured, he's been pretty good. He played pretty decently against Chicago last week. And then, back in 2024, he played pretty darn well as well when Love was dealing with an early season injury. So I think Malik Willis is probably the best quarterback on the field tomorrow if it's going to be him versus Tyler Huntley. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, and it doesn't change my feelings on this game at all. I still think the Packers are going to win, and I'm hoping that that's exactly what happens tomorrow night. It's kind of crazy, though, because, of course, there was a bunch of rumors linking Malik Willis to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers back in 2022 in the NFL Draft. The Steelers ended up taking Pitt Panther quarterback Kenny Pickett, and now Malik Willis, a couple years down the line here, has a chance to kind of become a Steelers legend here by getting a win and securing a division championship for the Pittsburgh Steelers without ever putting on the black and gold. So that's definitely an interesting storyline to watch tomorrow. But if the Ravens are able to win against the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night, that of course means the Steelers will have to take care of business on Sunday afternoon against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, a place where the Steelers have really struggled lately. In their last 6 trips to Cleveland, they're only 1-5, and they're 1-4, I believe, since Big Ben Roethlisberger retired. So this has been a place, even no matter how bad the Browns are, the Steelers tend to kind of struggle to get these wins in Cleveland. But we got our final injury reports today for both teams. We'll start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt, Calvin Austin III, James Pierre, and Brandon Eccles will all be out for this football game. Jalen Ramsey, who's currently dealing with an illness, and then Isaac Seumalo, who missed last week's game with a triceps injury, are questionable to play. And then Nick Herbig is off the injury report. He does not have an injury designation, and he is slated to play on Sunday afternoon. So it's good to see Herbig get back in the lineup. But, from this injury report here, my takeaways. Number one, James Pierre, who is listed as out for this week's game, went from a limited participant on Wednesday and Thursday to a non-participant on Friday. And usually that's an indication of a re-aggravation of an injury. So, if James suffered, a re-aggravation of that calf injury that he's missed the last 2 games with, that might mean he has to miss the rest of the regular season. This injury might even go into the postseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, it's definitely a good thing that the Steelers picked up Asante Samuel Jr. To play opposite of Joey Porter Jr. while James Pierre is out. But I will say at this point, with Brandon Echols out, as well as and also Jalen Ramsey potentially being out this week, we're one more outside corner injury away from really being in a tough spot here in Pittsburgh. So hopefully Asante Samuel Jr. and Joey Porter Jr. can stay healthy. But this is why you bring in a guy like Trey Flowers, somebody that can play on the outside, somebody that can play nickel as well. And that's why you activate him immediately. You put him on the active roster because he's got a ton of NFL experience. And if you need him to play tomorrow or in 2 days here on Sunday, you can do that. I also expect the Steelers to probably elevate either Deshaun Jamison or Daryl Porter Jr. Again, we've seen JMO get elevated for 1 game this year, and same thing goes for Daryl Porter Jr. So we'll see how the Steelers kind of decide to handle that cornerback situation. But the fact that Pierre went from limited participant to non-participant today has me a bit concerned right now. But then, staying with the whole secondary conversation here, Jalen Ramsey's missed the last 2 days with a illness. And he's questionable to play on Sunday. So we'll see if he makes the trip to Cleveland. At this point, after missing 2 days of practice, it's probably not just your 1 day flu or whatever. It seems like it's something a little bit more serious. And if he can't play, it's going to be interesting to see what Pittsburgh does at nickel, because Jalen is actually the team's backup nickel. Their starting nickel is Brandon Nichols. Goodness gracious, there's a bunch of nickels here. But Jalen usually plays safety for this defense. He's a starting safety, and he's had to move to nickel with Echols being out. But if he can't go either, there's a big question mark at who plays nickel. Now, people might be saying, Asante Samuel Jr., but it's like he's barely played nickel in his entire career, and the Pittsburgh Steelers don't practice him in the slot. So that's probably not something that they're considering. Now, Trey Flowers is somebody that they could certainly consider. Deshaun Jamison has played in the slot before as well, and you could probably put Daryl Porter Jr. in there as well. I'm sure all 3 of those guys would love any opportunity to get on the field. But another option that the Steelers would have at their disposal is to go 3 safety. You can have Duggar, Clark, and Jabril Peppers all out there at the same time, and you could experiment with that kind of alignment. Now, there might be some matchup issues there, because I don't know if I trust any of those 3 guys to line up one-on-one in man coverage in particular. If the opposing offense in Cleveland goes to 11 personnel. But, maybe just for a 1-week solution here, Cleveland does run a lot of 2 tight end and 3 tight end sets. They like to go heavy. So in that case, if you're seeing a lot of heavy on Sunday, you could theoretically put those 3 safeties out there, and that can be, your secondary rotation. You got the 2 outside corners and then the 3 safeties in your nickel package, and that could be what the Steelers do. But also keep your eye on Trey Flowers, Deshaun Jamison, Daryl Porter Jr. as well, if Jalen Ramsey is unable to play. Now, another kind of last note that I have here on the Steelers side of things is that DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin are both out this week. Obviously, DK serving a suspension. Calvin Austin III has a hamstring injury that will keep him out this week. So it'll be interesting to see how the Steelers kind of adjust their offensive game plan, because we've seen a lot of 11 personnel from the Steelers over these last couple of weeks. We've seen a lot of spread formations, and Aaron Rodgers likes to kind of take the reins of the offense and get into the right play and kind of force the defense to declare what they're doing with those spread formations. But I think this week is a week that we could potentially see more multi-tight end sets, just because you got less options in the wide receiver room. So we could see more of Jonnu Smith, unfortunately. Could see more of Muth. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we'll see a lot of Darnell Washington as well. Lots of jumbo personnel stuff, lots of run game. But if they do go to those 11 personnel looks and they put 3 receivers on the field, I'm very interested to see what the workload's going to look like, because I'm almost certain Adam Thielen, MVS, they're going to be out there for pretty much every single offensive snap that is out there. But who's going to be that number 3? And what does that number 3 rotation look like? Is it going to be Scotty Miller? Is it going to be Roman Wilson? Is it going to be a combination of the two? And with DK and Calvin both out this week, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that Roman Wilson is going to get a helmet. But, a big question mark I have heading into this game is just how much of a role is Roman going to have? Because, when Roman, before he got benched, essentially, he was a starter in the rotation for Pittsburgh. He was above Scotty Miller in the rotation and on the depth chart. But we saw last week, Scotty Miller, has a pretty decent chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. We saw Scotty consistently make plays in camp, and apparently Roman Wilson is still very much learning. I mean, Aaron Rodgers said it in his media availability this week, where he just, he still kind of plays like a rookie, and he needs to, develop some of the veteran nuance that, frankly, Aaron Rodgers' receivers need to have because of Rodgers' extremely fast processing ability, and players need to be in the right spot at the right time, and that's probably a big reason why adding Adam Thielen and MVS have really helped this passing attack these last 3 weeks. So I'm excited to see the growth that Roman Wilson has made, but if we see a lot of Scotty Miller on Sunday afternoon, I will not be surprised by that, because Scotty, ran good routes, and he showed good footwork, and he made some tough catches, and it would not surprise me at all if we see Scotty get that number 3 wide receiver nod. And then I'm sure they're gonna rotate in Roman Wilson, but it would not shock me if he's wide receiver 4 on Sunday afternoon. Now we'll finish up today's show with the Browns injury report. The names that are worth mentioning is that David Njoku, their number 1 tight end, is going to be out for this football game, and then also apparently their stellar rookie tight end Harold Fannin Jr., who has over 700 yards in his rookie season, by the way. He's questionable to go. He apparently had an injury in practice today, and he's currently questionable. Now, Fannin did tell reporters that he expects to play on Sunday, but I think every player is going to tell you that. So we'll see what the status is on Fannin heading into Sunday, but also slot cornerback Miles Harden is questionable as well. If he's going to be unable to go, they're going to be really down bad at nickel corner. And that's going to be an area where the Steelers, I think, can really take advantage with Adam Thielen in the slot. All right, I think Adam Thielen is going to be a big player in this football game. I think he's about to have his best game as a Steeler, because they got 2 pretty good outside corners in Denzel Ward and Tyson Campbell, but where they're kind of weak is the slot cornerback position in a defense where they play a lot of man coverage. So I think Adam Thielen, as a route runner, as a big body guy, as a hands catcher, as somebody that's a veteran route runner, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to turn to him a lot in this football game with DK Metcalf out of the lineup. So if Miles Harden, their starting slot corner, is out in this ball game, that's going to loom large, I think, in this ball game as well. Then also Dylan Sampson, who is definitely the team's best running back right now, is also questionable. Of course, Quinshon Judkins and Jerome Ford are both out in this football game for Cleveland. Both are on IR, and Dylan Sampson is, questionable, and he's a rookie out of Tennessee, very young player, very fast. But they don't have a whole lot at running back behind Sampson at this point, so they're going to have to turn to I think it's Trayman Williams or something like that. It's somebody that I'm not really familiar with behind Sampson. So if he's unable to go, that's gonna be probably meaning Shedeur Sanders is probably going to have over 50 pass attempts, which I think is good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rookie quarterbacks don't usually play very well against Mike Tomlin defenses first time playing the Steelers. There's a reason why Tomlin's win percentage versus rookie quarterbacks is over 80%. So, I think the more Shedeur Sanders throws the ball in this football game, the better in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So that's going to wrap up our show today, guys. I really appreciate you stopping by here this evening. I will catch you guys tomorrow with a couple more videos. We're going to put one out in the morning, and then we'll be live, I believe, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, a 30-minute pregame show, followed by live play-by-play and reaction and analysis to Ravens versus Packers. And then post-game, we'll put out some sort of video after the watch party as well. But of course, if the Ravens lose, we're going to be having a live celebration on a Steelers Talk. So make sure you guys join us tomorrow. It's going to be a great day of content, a great weekend of content here on Steelers Talk. So if you don't want to miss any of it, click that subscribe button right now. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.